Please be seated. Today is a very special day for me, not only because I don't have to preach, which allowed me to go out with my friends last night, but also because the preacher of this morning is a person who I love dearly. He's been a great friend, and also is one of those people that in case of an emergency, I know I can always call. Pastor Branson Isley was the associate pastor at Mountain Brook Baptist Church many years ago, and he has continued to have a faithful career as a servant of the Lord by serving as pastor of the First Baptist Church at Columbiana, and later as pastor of the lowly chapel UMC in Cal City. It is really an honor for me to present him to you. I asked him if he wanted to protest with us, if he wanted to wear all this stuff, he wanted to sit here. And he humbly said, no, I want to sit with my family, which right there shows the quality of a human being of this person. So there's nothing better than being able to listen to the different voices of the people of God. And it's a privilege for me to introduce you, Pastor Branson Isley.
Good morning. After I left Mountain Brook Baptist Church, I traveled for years all around the country helping churches raise money for large projects. And so I've got the opportunity to actually speak at an Episcopal church in Shawnee, Tennessee, and they even let me start communion. That church is probably no longer in existence. But it's an honor to be here with my son and his wife. My wife, we are appreciative of the opportunity. The church in Corinth was having some problems. And you say, nah, there are no problems in the church. Well, this church was having some problems. And we would know that the last place in the words of the community is the church. There's nothing going on here, that's a problem. And I'm sure you never have any discontent or anything like that. Nah, never. I've had more than one person come into my office as I pastored to let me know what a poor job I was doing. And in every case, I threw them out. One of them was a little big, but we got him out. But anyhow, there are problems where two or more people are gathered together, whether it's at the church, or at home, or at work, or at play, whatever, there's going to be some conflict. There's going to be some politics played. And so that's what Paul encountered at the church in Corinth. He encountered difficulties. And so in 1 Corinthians 15 that you read for us, we find this gentleman saying to the church there, let me tell you who I am. And he had listed the apostles. And to be an apostle meant that you saw Jesus after he was resurrected. And there were a lot of people who had seen him, but there was just a select number that became the apostles of the church. And so Paul says to the group at Corinth, he said, I know that I'm one of the lesser apostles because the others saw him person to person. I saw him on the Damascus road. And so it was different. And he took that role. He said, I'm an apostle who has seen Jesus, but I'm a minor apostle. I'm not one of the leading apostles. But during that visit, Paul got confronted and was insulted. And because of that, he left. He's kind of like me. I run away from problems if I get a chance. But he left. And when he left, he wrote this letter, 1 Corinthians back to say to them, here's been my journey, my experience, but you hurt my feelings. And so I have left, and this letter was sent to deal with some of the conflict. And so, as Paul said, it was necessary to believe, to know that other people have different beliefs than you, but we can still be a unity. We can still work together. So after Paul left Corinth, he sends this letter back, and then he sends, after they deal with the individual that had insulted him in that church, he sends the second letter, 2 Corinthians. And it is full of images of what our lives should be like to express Christ to the world around us. And in this particular book that he sends back, or letter that he sends back, he brings up a problem that anyone who traveled in that day and time had, and that is, we didn't have American Express cards. You know, we didn't have MasterCards. You didn't have email, or you didn't have these crazy things. But, so what you did is when you were, if I was in Ephesus, and I did a good job, I'd get a letter of recommendation from them and would carry it with me. And when I got to Corinth, I would give them that letter of recommendation, and they would in turn accept it and let me be there. And he writes to them. I want you to hear what he said to them in this letter. By the way, this Bible was Josh's granddad's, who was pastor. And he died in 2004 at the age of 94. I tell everybody if I behave myself, I got a good bloodline. But he wrote this letter, and in the 3rd chapter, he says this: Do we begin again to commend ourselves to you? Or do we need, as some others, epistles of recommendation to you, or letters of recommendation from you? And he said, you, listen to this closely, you are our epistle written in our hearts, known and read by all men. You are manifestly an epistle of Christ, ministered by us, written not with ink, but by the Spirit of the living God, not on tablets of stone, but in the tablets of flesh that is of the heart. Well, powerful words. What does that say to us? It says that somebody wrote on this group's heart. And when he came to Corinth again, he didn't need a letter of recommendation to them or from them, because he had it on his heart. And God had written it to him. And that brought to my mind, I wonder when people encounter me, what type of letter do they read? What is the letter that God has from Branson Isley to the world? What is the letter that I have that can influence people and help them? What do they see? I think that's a good question for all of us. How's my letter? Because as you walk out into this world this week, people are going to read your letter. And you need to be asking yourself, like I do, what does my letter say? Does it have an impact of love and care, or is it confliction? I don't know about y'all. I just know one thing about me. And that is, I want to be a good letter to read. But I know I'm not always. I want to be perfect in my behavior and my insights, but I'm not always. But what I do know is that because of people like my dad and my mother, their letters influenced me. Their letters changed my life. And I want to be able to do the same thing for other people as I have of them. And so the question as we leave today, my goal always in preaching is that people remember one thing that I said. I had a guy stop me in a place of business in Pell City who had heard me preach, and I had made 4 points. about me, he said, you know, those 4 points, and he pulled out of his wallet a list of those 4 points that he said he read every day. I did a good job of that. What I want to do today is that for everybody who leaves here, they remember one thing, and that is, you are a letter from God, written on your hearts by the Holy Spirit, not by man. And you have an opportunity to change people's lives if you choose to let God speak.